In the verdant heart of Umuada village, where the whispers of the past still lingers in the air, there lived a young maiden named Amanda. Her life was woven into the fabric of the village. She was a well-loved daughter of the soil, always cheerful, and was the kind of girl everyone was easily fond of and generally loved. Amanda's love story began by the stream. She often used to go there every day to fetch water with her 2 clay pots every evening. She would often take the narrow bush path each evening as she went. But for some people, the stream was a place of reflection and solitude. At least it was so for this very tall, dark, handsome man that she always saw by the bank of stream on certain days. He was a handsome man indeed, a man almost beautiful, standing tall like a young iroko tree, a man whose presence was as enigmatic as the mist that rises with the dawn. He only comes to the stream on the 4th market day, and always seemed to ask for a drink of water from Amanda's water pot. Other maidens often wondered why he did that, why he only seemed to notice Amanda, and often wondered if maybe they knew each other. In return for her kindness, he would assist her with the water pots, his voice as soothing as the breeze that danced upon the branches and leaves of African almond trees that surrounded the stream. Something about him felt right, and she always could not resist or decline his offer whenever he wanted to help her carry her water pots home. They often talked as they went to Udago's house, and he told her that his name was Mike. Curiosity bloomed within Amanda like the iroko tree, mighty and unyielding. She inquired about his identity, about the reason he always came to the stream with such melancholic regularity. He was open to her and spoke of his childhood, and told her that he had often visited the river when he was a little boy with his father, who was a wealthy man from a neighboring kingdom. He told her how he had lost his parents a few years ago, and since then inherited their wealth. He told her he often came to the stream to think of them and honor their memory in his heart. Yet, this sob story tales of his was a well-thought-out lie, one that he had weaved to hide his true identity, for the man was no longer among the living. He appeared to be living yet he was dead. He was a shadow, a reflection walking among men. He was a ghost. The real story was that he was struck down by lightning 4 years ago in one of the 4th market days during a very rainy night as he came back home from trading in the neighboring village. But he hid this well. No one knew. No one knew him, and he knew no one, but only a few friends he had made from the village. As the seasons went by and days became months, their acquaintance blossomed into familiarity. He introduced her to friends from her own village, friends who seemed to know him as one of their own. As their friendship grew, gifts and presents flowed like the river itself, and tokens of affection for Amanda and her family became more often as time went. People began to envy Amanda's family and wished this good thing happened to them instead. Others rejoiced with them and prayed for the Almighty to bless their family with a man like Mike. One day, this man, known to the villagers as Mike, declared his intention to marry Amanda. She had often dreamed of this day. She had so many versions of how that very day would play out, but when he asked her, she was too stunned to think it through. She accepted. Arrangements were made and the traditional marriage day dawned, and all the villagers looked to it with anticipation and excitement. Everyone prepared for that day and waited with expectation and hungry stomachs as they dreamed it would be the biggest marriage in the village, only second to the prince's marriage. The day was finally here. Sounds of musical instruments and melodic voices of musicians put a sense of excitement into the air, the elegantly decorated traditional dancers wonderfully entertaining the guests, the smell of vegetable and melon seed soup coming from the backyard, and the mouth-watering smell of the cow meat being grilled near the entrance of the compound. Everything said luxury. It was a day indeed. Amanda's father, adhering to the customs and traditions of the Igbos, presented the kola nuts to welcome his in-laws-to-be, and they received it in good faith. Yet, as the ceremony unfolded, a whisper of unease rustled through the gathering. Some people wondered why the so-called in-laws-to-be were so few. There was no old man among them. People wondered if Mike's kinsmen were all young men or were not in support of the marriage, seeing he was marrying a humble girl from a poor family. Few of Mike's friends were in attendance, and they stood strongly by his side, but a weary feeling of absence still hung heavy in the air. The moment of union arrived, and Amanda, with grace and poise, offered the wedding wine to her betrothed. As he drank and her father bestowed his blessings, a disturbance rippled through the crowd. An old woman from the neighboring kingdom had begun to stir up a controversy at the back where she sat with others. She had just realized something and began to panic. Her eyes widened as her doubts cleared when she came closer to the front where the newly married couples were and looked more closely at the groom. To her shock, she recognized him and called out to the groom by his former name. He turned his face to see who had called him, and as soon as he caught her gaze, he vanished, leaving nothing but a wisp of air and a legacy of fear. Panic seized the assembly as they fled. Everyone ran as fast as their legs could carry them. Musicians abandoned their instruments and took to their heels. The dancers were the first to disappear, both young and old, children and maidens. Everyone ran and didn't stop to breathe until they reached their various houses. The tale of the ghost groom spread far and wide, a cautionary whisper on the lips of every storyteller. From that day forth, the people of Umuada and beyond vowed to delve into the histories of those they would give their daughters to, and those their sons whole marry into their land, ensuring that the ghost wedding would remain a solitary chapter, something only reserved for folktales and storytellers. And so, the story of Amanda and the ghost marriage endures till this day, a narrative etched into the heartbeat of Umuada, a reminder of the thin veil that separates the seen from the unseen, the living from the departed.
Subscribe for more interesting stories. Brought to you by Fave African Tales.